one of the guys right from Hike-ALOT. The winds have changed, have arrived here in Texas and out through the southeast, and all of a sudden now the temperatures are getting cool. So as I was going through and changing out some things in my bag, I thought it'd be a good opportunity to sit down and talk to you guys about what my layering system is for the cooler months. So obviously living in Texas and hiking predominantly in the southeast, it doesn't get nearly as cold here as it does in other parts of the country. So my layering system, absolutely 100% not for everyone. You know, there is no best one-size-fits-all option for this because some people run hotter than others. So this is just a system that I've kind of settled in on over the last few years, and so let's jump into it and I'll show you what I'm wearing. Okay, so we're going to start at the bottom and work our way to the top. So right out the gate, from summer to fall and even into winter, I really don't change the socks that I'm hiking in. I'm pretty much always consistently in a darn tough merino wool, just a hiker weight sock. I don't wear thicker socks. My feet stay warm enough when I'm out on the trail regardless, just in these. Anything much thicker, and I sweat too much in them, and then that's going to lead me to blisters. So I don't even shift gears with my socks. But one thing I do swap out though and start to do during the winter months, I keep an extra pair of socks inside my bag that is legitimately just for sleeping. They're just big thick wool socks, and I'll go ahead and I'll put my socks for tomorrow's hike on when I'm ready to go to bed, and then I'll probably layer these across the top of them. These are just a cheap pair of like thicker, really cheap wool socks that came off of Amazon. They're huge, and I legitimately just sleep in these, and that's why I call them my sleepy socks. Okay, so continuing my route up here, so moving from feet to up like legs. All right, so pants, I do change from winter to summer. Summertime, I'm pretty much wearing some thin weight, light hiker pants that has the zip off legs on them. Wintertime gets here, I'm still in like hiking cargo pants. It's more like a 5'11" pair of pants. I've got a few of those that I'll normally kind of swap back and forth between. They kind of bend and flex. They still dry quickly. They're not overly heavyweight. I don't normally hike in base layers. And on the subject of base layers, so I do carry base layers for my bottom that I will slip into at camp at night, typically right before I go to bed, because that's normally all I'm sleeping in. So I'll take my actual pants off and sleep in my sleeping bag just in my base layers, and that's really all I'm doing. So I never hike in my bases. And so 2 years ago, I swapped over away from the Under Armour over to Duluth's Alaskan hard gear line. It's a polyester spandex blend. Again, you know, here in the southeast, it really doesn't get that cold during the winters, so those have sufficed for me. I like the fact that if I do get sweaty at night, I feel like there's some wicking effect to it. If I were going to go north, obviously I'd be looking for something more like the merino wool or even the Packas. I've looked at those several times. I really like their products. I think I would roast if I tried to actually sleep in those though, but I could be wrong. I may still have to try them out one day. All right, so moving from pants to up to my torso here. So whether it's summer or winter, I pretty much am always in one of these lightweight wicking shirts. Anytime I ever start on the trail with much more on, even if I'm cold, you know, a mile, 2 miles in, I'm hot, I'm stopping, I'm taking everything off. So I always tell myself before I leave, even if I'm freezing, be bold, start cold. And I really try to start out with something like this. If it's really cold outside, I would rather take the chance of stopping 2 miles in and putting something on, and because I'm cold, than starting hot, getting sweaty, and then stopping somewhere up the trail and taking stuff back off. So I always pretty much am hiking in something like this. Once I get to camp, completely different story. I'm popping that lightweight shirt off, getting it hung up so it can start drying for tomorrow, and I'm moving into the top half of that Duluth system, that hardware gear that they've got, the Alaskan hardware gear that they have. So this is what I'm going to be hanging out in camp with. Nice, warm, cozy. Like I said, it's that polyester spandex blend. And if the temps continue to drop from there, and I'm ready for that next step up, then I'm moving into a lightweight fleece that I always carry, and I just come in right over the top of the base layer with it. I picked it up at Cabela's, I think it is. It's the Ascend brand. I enjoy wearing fleece. I like what it feels. I like the warmth factor to it. But I didn't want the big, bulky, heavy. This is a thinner weight fleece. Picked it up, and it seems to be the right little balance when it's combined with the base layer for the vast majority of my trips out. But it does get colder, so when we're ready for the colder weather, out comes the Puffy. Puffies are the bane of my existence, I swear. I cannot convince myself to spend a fortune on some of these really expensive puffies that are out there. If I was in an area where it really got cold and it stayed that way for months on end, I might could pull the trigger on it, but at this point, I can't. So, what am I using? So for a puffy, I'm running the Decathlon Trek 100. It's one of the cheaper options out there. It had great reviews on it. I've only had it about a year, but I have taken it on several trips down into the 20s at night and have been very comfortable in it. I don't sleep in it. This then turns into my pillow when I get into my bag. But as far as tootling around camp, with this setup in the, I'd say, low 20s, I was very comfortable. I like the fact that it had a hood on there because some of my other puffies that I had that were even a little cheaper didn't have the hood, and that makes a big difference with me, especially when it's windy and stuff out, because obviously I don't have a lot of hair. I think I paid $80 for this one. It's been really good so far. It's in the blue. It does not match absolutely anything whatsoever that I wear, but you know what? Hiking's not a fashion show. Whew, thanks for sticking with me here. It was getting warm, so I had to take all that stuff back off. I was about to break a sweat here. Okay, so we've covered from the feet all the way up through the torso, but now we have to worry about the extremities. And those are the two areas that I get the coldest. It's my hands and the top of my head. So for my hands, always running it's a rag wool glove. Going through, I prefer the fingerless gloves, but I want the ones with the flip over mitten. I like the dexterity I get by still having my fingertips to use camera equipment or rifle through my phone, looking at maps and things like that, so I'm not pulling them off and on the entire time. But if I'm out on the end of my trekking poles with just the fingerless gloves, my fingertips freeze, and then I can't feel anything. But the little flip over mitten saves me from having to wear my socks, which I haven't had to do, usually my sleepy socks, on the ends of my poles. So pretty much anytime I have left and not taken these, I've kicked myself for it. That then brings us to the top of the head. Obviously, I have zero hair up there to keep me warm, so I'm pretty much always running a beanie. Now, this is a little wigwam merino wool beanie that I picked up a while back. I told you earlier when I'm out on the trail, I always try to tell myself, be bold, start cold, and I don't wear anything beyond this top when I start out. I am starting out with the hat on and the gloves because those are nice and easy that I can pull off while I'm on trail and just shove in the cargo pockets of my pants. So I'm pretty much always consistently, even with the lighter shirt, starting out like that. So this is enough to keep my head warm. I sleep in it at night. I'll just get into my sleeping bag with this on. Worst case scenario, if I start to get cold, I'll just continue to pull it down until it kind of covers up everything. It kind of cuts out the light distractions if I've got people around camp that I'm actually out hiking with, if they're out moving about. The absolute last piece of gear for my layering system, did a video on it the other day, the Shemagh. So if you're not familiar with what the Shemagh is, it's like an oversized bandana. It's that sort of tactical scarf you see people wearing. I think it originated from the Middle East here, but now they're very prevalent here. So during the winter, I use this as a gaiter. I'll get it around my neck, and it helps me kind of keep all the wind from getting down inside my shirt and stuff like that, or inside my jacket. Or if it gets really cold, especially at night when I'm getting ready to go to bed, I'll pull it over and cover myself from here up. It's actually a picture of me with it on in my thumbnail here for this video. So the Shemagh, this actually replaces the bandana in my kit all the time at this point. It's a multi-purpose tool that seems to have endless uses for. So if you don't have one, pick one up. They're like $15. They're well worth it. Okay, guys, hopefully you found that beneficial. I was kind of just swapping stuff over in the bag and thought it'd be a good opportunity to show you guys what I'm carrying out, because I do get questions about that a lot. Hopefully everyone's having a good time on the trail, enjoying the cooler weather. And if you're out there right now, as always, remember, left foot, right foot, repeat. We'll see you out there soon.